It's for the final time of the year of 2011 with Russel Norman, co-leader of the Greens. Russell, good morning.
Good morning, Wemo.
Good morning, and all the MPs sworn back into Parliament yesterday. What was that like, having this larger Greens caucus sitting there in the debating chamber yesterday?
It was a good feeling. Yeah, there was a big pack of us went over there, so it's nice to have a big group of us in there. So obviously the challenges ahead of us, but it's certainly great, and thanks to everyone that put all of those people there.
And kind of where are you? Because with less Labour MPs there, are you more sort of now directly facing the government as opposed to sort of looking kind of side on?
No, we've stuck to our position facing the Speaker down the far end of the chamber. We kind of like that position because it's a kind of third pole within the Parliament.
Yeah.
So you have National, Labour and then the Greens as the kind of three poles. So, we've stuck to our seats in that spot.
Is there not someone, who's in between you and Labour?
New Zealand First and Hone.
Is it like Back to the Future?
It's very, very strange. It's a very odd world. It's very odd to have them there, and God knows what they're going to do in 3 years. But anyway, New Zealand First is back.
And I mean, you've seen, firsthand Winston Peters in there before, but. Or have you? Have you been sitting there with Winston? You have, but not John Banks. That predates you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I think Banks there is even. I mean, it's all very weird. Banks and Peters back there.
Yeah,
it's like the 80s and 90s all over again. It's like we're going to do it all again, and this time is fast.
Yeah.
What's that saying? It's first time is tragedy, second time is fast. Exactly.
And I just noticed that. There's a bit of action happening before Christmas. There's going to be a march on Parliament on the 22nd against asset sales. Are we expecting many people to be involved with that march?
I don't think so. I think it'll be, I don't really know, to be honest. So I don't think it's going to be absolutely huge because it hasn't been organised by any of the really large organisations or anything. And it's kind of just a few days before Christmas and the asset sales haven't started yet and all that. So I think it's more like a precursor of what's to come next year.
Might be hard to sort of discern who's actually Christmas shopping and who's marching, I suppose, at that time. But I guess it'll probably be a slow build. We're expecting these marches to, I guess, continue into next year, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously National have identified Mighty River Power to flog off first, and by the end of next year, and then they'll move on to the rest, no doubt, in time. So I think, there's going to be quite a lot of opposition to it.
One thing that I've been meaning to discuss with you is this food bill that's being bandied about. A food bill that might prevent small-time producers selling their wares, or even people at home swapping tomatoes and cucumbers with their neighbours. What do you know about this?
Yeah, so the government's produced this food bill. It's gone through Select Committee, it's coming back to the House. We're going to try to move a bunch of amendments to it to prevent the possibility of doing those kind of things, of placing restrictions on small-scale producers. So we'll see what changes we can get made. The government's going, they're saying things like, it has the power to do that, but it won't do that kind of thing, whereas we're just going, look, if that's not your intention, then change the bill to make it clear that it won't do that kind of thing, or placing restrictions on small-scale producers. So that's where that's what we're going to try to do with it.
Are there parts of the food bill that you agree with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously food does need regulating, and food safety issues are real, and so, we need to make sure that that's achieved, but we don't want to place undue restrictions on small-scale food production, because that's one of the core green principles, is to be able to produce your own food in your backyard or on a community garden or at your local community-assisted agriculture farmer, So
is food labelling part of this?
No, not what we're after, country of origin labelling. Country of origin labelling, of course, is there's a WTO case about it recently as well, where the WTO seems to be acting against countries that have introduced country of origin labelling of food. That's kind of tied up with all the trade agreements.
Because surely that's more important than anything else.
It's certainly more. Protecting the right of being able to, barter and grow your own food and sell it at the local farmers market is pretty important too. But But making sure that people have a right to know where their food comes from is also very important.
Yeah, because as an extension to country of origin labelling, we'd like to see, particularly with that sort of primary produce, exactly where it came from in the country, and perhaps even what boat it came off, if it was fish.
I mean, fish is, there's a lot of fish now that's fished in the New Zealand EEZ, then just goes through, doesn't even come to New Zealand, it goes overseas for processing, and then ends up getting sold back here as from product of New Zealand.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much of our food, because there's, all the trade deals have made it very difficult to put compulsory labelling on things. It does make it harder to track your food than it used to be.
Yeah. Hey, now, didn't you sit down with John Key this week?
Yesterday afternoon had a chat with John and Bill.
And how did that go?
Oh, that was good. I mean, the Greens and National disagree about a bunch of stuff. But what we try to do is, make NMP work by working on areas that we have in common. So we've basically agreed to continue with the framework we've had up to now, which has been this memorandum of understanding where we've had these joint projects where we agree on things. So the home insulation scheme, the cycle network, identifying contaminated sites, that's been a few of them. And so we'll carry on with those projects, and in the new year we'll identify what new ones we want to work together on.
Okay, so those haven't been agreed on yet.
No. I mean, we're in it for the long game. We can figure this out in the year. It doesn't have to be done before Christmas in a rush.
Have you worked out beyond that though any priorities for the Greens in 2012?
Well, I mean, in the first instance, we'll carry on with the priorities from the election campaign. I mean, kids out of poverty, cleaning up rivers, green jobs, that's what we went into the campaign on, and we'll keep pushing hard on those issues. As the 3 years evolve, we might change focus a little bit, but I think those three issues are going to be still pretty critical over, that's for the foreseeable future.
And now time to relax for the next few weeks?
Yeah, we just got speeches. We'll be doing the address and reply. I got a 30-minute speech in my house today, which I think is the longest speech I've ever had to do in the house. So that'll be fun. And then we wind down to Christmas, and then I'm going to take a break because it's been a long year.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
I hope everyone else can too.
Yeah, exactly. And are there a round of those speeches in Parliament today?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how Shearer performs.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be the Governor General delivers the speech from the throne on behalf of the government, and then the other parties respond. So it will be interesting to see how Shearer goes, and give us a bit of a brief glimpse into what the new Parliament's going to be like next year before everything wraps up. Yeah,
indeed. All right, well, all the best to you and yours for the festive season, and look forward to catching you in the new year.
All right, thanks, Emmo, and the best to you and yours and all your listeners. It's thanks for having me on the show over the year.
Thanks very much, Russell. Cheers.
Okay, bye.
Russell Norman, co-leader of the Greens, there with us.